Hello everyone, my name is Estelle. Welcome back to my channel. It's not really a channel, but I guess I'm trying to make it into a channel. But it's a long time no see. The last time we saw each other was actually my portfolio. Shout out to who I really am. I wanted to start talking about and normalize a channel where we can freely talk about UX, where UX researcher role is going or evolving as AI is evolving with us, with the society, and the pace is scary, right? A few years ago, it came out and everyone is like, whoa, let's replace researchers or designers in tech industry or any industry, really. And one of the things that I have been doing is talking to a lot more researchers, see where they are today, what kind of challenges they are seeing, and how I can help, or hopefully I can help in that sense, because I do believe that if we help each other out as much as possible, that's where the hope is, right? I don't want us to be like, oh, this is my secret sauce that I'm not going to share. So one of the things I did want to discuss today is why 2026 UX researchers must transition into AI-driven product strategy leaders. We are trading a lot of usability testing for high-level architectural influence by embedding machine learning models even directly into the discovery phase, right? By automating tactical synthesis, we pivot from journey mapping to defining the algorithmic logic that drives product growth. So we should know how to secure our seat at the decision-making table as indispensable AI-driven product strategy leaders, because I do believe a lot of time we just synthesize and then have this deck or share out just to be like, hey, here you go, here's some actionable recommendations, and one and done. Let me move on to the next research. Because of that process, I do see a lot of people are getting laid off. I'm not saying those research was not impactful or not a decision changer, but I do believe UX researchers are becoming more of a strategic leaders, and that's what other companies are looking into, because AI essentially had kind of transitioned how we work as a researcher, but also what kind of other responsibilities they're looking for when they're hiring UX researchers, whether that's junior or more seasoned or even a consultant. So let's get into it, right? I would want to say adapt or die warning, right? If you are still just running usability testing and synthesizing interviews in 2026, your career isn't on life support. The AI revolution hasn't just changed our tools. I would say it redefined our value proposition. In order to survive, you must stop being a researcher and start becoming an AI-driven product strategy leader today. To start off, the death of traditional research, right? I think we need to understand why manual usability testing and interview synthesis are now fully automated by 2026 AI agents. I don't even really need to go into it, but we already see a lot of AI tools today that are doing recruiting, synthesizing all the patterns and what are the themes, what are the top pain points, key takeaways, right? So essentially, UX researchers have freed up a lot of time on those emailing back and forth with participants, finding the right participants, etc. So now then we can spend more time on what are the gaps that the AI didn't catch, pressure check throughout different LLM tools, ChatGPT or Claude or whichever you're using today, and show that the human element is essentially the key to your role, right? Nobody can replace your judgment. Nobody can really, I guess not nobody, but no AI can influence the decision making with stakeholders. You are the person, you are the leader who needs to do that. And shift from researchers being data gatherers to being data auditors in a more saturated synthetic data market. I think when we talk about UX researchers, we have qualitative and quantitative, right? But essentially where we see the market is going today is we need to do both. Whether you're qualitative only or quantitative only, the data is the key to success, I would say, with AI being so intertwined with all of our life aspects. Why I say that? Because if you don't have the data, you don't have the number, then you don't know the what, right? The qualitative really focuses on the why. But if you have the why and the what together as a combination, the stakeholders are more likely to hear what you have to say. But I will cover another episode on how to really have difficult stakeholders to be engaged in your research, because I do think that's one of the most challenging aspect as a researcher. So I will touch on that in another episode. But here, I do want to go back to the topic of how to really connect the loss of traditional task-based roles to the urgent need for a higher level strategic pivot. I think that's a key. After I spoke with multiple different UX researchers, from junior, early grad, recent grad to seasoned researchers, I do see the trend where the market is going is a lot of junior researchers and the seasoned researchers are having a difficult time landing a role. And I wouldn't say that's a gap in skills. I would say that's a gap in strategy of how you find jobs today and how you're positioning yourself to land the role, right? A lot of AI tools today are already bypassing your resumes even before the human sees it. So how can we best do that? And also, that's going to be another episode of my channel, but I don't want to put too many contents here. Next, I do want to talk about how can we really best strategize and secure your seat at 2027 table. The transition roadmap from being a support function to becoming a primary driver of business ROI is key, right? I think if you understand where business is going today, what are the business challenges and the problems that they're looking to solve, then you will automatically earn that seat at the table. But of course, you have to do your research, you have to do your study, you have to gain your trust with all the stakeholders for them to invite you to those meetings. Nobody is just gonna give you a free ticket and be like, hey, come join because we hired you. So we need to think more strategically and connect your solutions to the problems with the business ROI. And second is identify the specific leadership skills that's needed to bridge the gap between engineering-led AI and human-centric market success. What I mean by that is not everyone is a leader today, but I don't say somebody's born to be a leader automatically. It's a part of personality, but I 100% believe anybody can be a leader, right? There's a differences between being a micromanager versus a leadership-driven manager. A leader is someone who can carry you with them together for the same goal, which is a success. But if you have a micromanager who is just checking on you every single minute to see if you're doing work, if you're not, then give you more assignments, then that's not really a leader, because essentially at the end of the day, you want to learn from your journey. You want to be challenged. You want to know what you can improve on a day-to-day basis. Even with interviews, after each interview, you want to understand what you didn't do right and how you can best improve. And I know a lot of times recruiters or even hiring managers will ghost you, and every single time after the interview, they wouldn't give you any constructive feedback. I completely understand. I was in the same scenario, but try your best. Don't be shy. Just put yourself out there and be like, hey, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciated meeting with you. But before we leave, could you provide me any constructive feedback that you have where I can practice for the next round of interview or even with next company? So that will take some leadership kind of personality and a trait for them to see how this person really wants to grow. And that could seem like, oh, you're already trying to interview for other position. We didn't even finish this interview yet. But at the end of the day, you want to be someone who can focus on your growth, and you have to be the one who's being proactive about these type of things, right? abandon the service provider mindset and embrace their new identity as a strategic architect. What I mean by that is, I would say, look at yourself as a brand that you want to sell, right? In today's age, UX researchers or product design researcher or customer analyst or insight analyst, there's so many different titles. We shouldn't marry into the title only. And when I was talking to other researchers, don't just find jobs that's like UX researcher, right? You can do so many different names that's doing the same job. But essentially, you have to view your portfolio as your product and the services that you're trying to sell. So people can see how this person can do multiple things, not just the research, but market research, secondary research, project management skills, right? Many more. Data analytics is one of them that you should start baking, because that will really make you stand out from others. Another topic is, other people have asked me, like, hey, do I really need to start learning how to vibe code? I wouldn't say you have to, but if you're someone who's curious, I 100% believe that you should dive into it right away. There are so many possibilities with vibe coding. When we couldn't code, we don't know how to read HTML, CSS, or whatever, Python. But now, especially with Claude or other coding tools that can help you to code for you, if you have an idea that you want to explore or even just play around with. I created research repository ground up without knowing any coding. I don't have a coding background, but I was curious. I was like, hey, what if instead of people coming to me and ask, like, do you have this kind of study from the past? I can just create an LLM chat tool where they can just ask the tool, and I can just embed and import all the research studies, like raw video footages or the presentations that I've done or any of the artifacts that I've created in the past. Have them access to those without me being the only gate that's approving or finding or trying to scramble through, while I can use that time to do other research studies. So those are the things that I feel like, if you're truly trying to survive in today's day and age, I definitely feel like that's something that you should explore. And hopefully this has been super helpful. I will try to do mini episodes and videos like this. If you like this and you thought this was helpful, please press that like button and subscribe. And I also have a website called uxestelle.com. So if you visit that website and if you need any consulting or coaching or research studies that you want me to provide, please click that link, and hope to talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.